Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. Uh, you, we'll be dealing with the book of Deuteronomy. We'll be reading out of that chapter. And you like we got a bunch of videos, over 900 or so videos on our channel. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay. Uh, and if you like the videos, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Excuse me. And if you let me get it. Okay. Yeah. So this is a non-Messianic channel for those that don't know. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah being the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to the Lord of Moses by the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're gonna do our normal, which is a moment of silence, our prayer. We're gonna read our Psalms, our Women's Health Moment, do some current events, a little need to know information. Then we open it up for some questions and comments, and any dialogue that anybody wants to is welcome. Then we go into our topic of discussion, which is going back and dealing with the book of Deuteronomy, starting at chapter 1, and we're going to read it until we get through with the chapter, with the book. Okay, we're going to read it and break it down. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay, well, Lord, we come before Thee at this time that You have set, oh Lord, and we thank You for Your knowledge and the understanding that You have given us up until this point. And we seek Thy face, and that You may shower us with peace and enlightenment and a sense of togetherness. Oh Lord, we see Thy hand in the affairs of the world, and we know and understand that what You have spoken in the past will surely come to pass. Turn not Thy face from us, but hearken unto this plea, O Lord, and hearken and do. Peace be unto You. Okay, somebody gonna read the Psalms?
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. I'll be reading Psalms 60. I'll be reading Psalms 60. O God, Thou hast cast us off. Thou hast scattered us. Thou hast been displeased. O turn Thyself to us again. Thou hast made the earth to tremble. Thou hast broken it. Heal the branches thereof, for it shaketh. Verse 3. Thou hast showed Thy people hard things. Thou hast made us to drink the wine of astonishment. Thou hast given a banner to them that fear Thee, that it may be displayed because of the truth. Selah. Verse 5. That Thou beloved may be delivered. Save with Thy right hand, and hear me. God hath spoken in His holiness. I will rejoice. I will divide Shechem and mete out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, and Manasseh is mine. Ephraim also is the strength of mine head. Judah is my lawgiver. Verse 8. Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me. Who will bring me out who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Will not Thou, O God, which have cast us off, and Thou, O God, which didst not go out with our armies? Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Verse 12. Through God we shall do valiantly, for He is that shall tread down our enemies. For He it is that, shall tread down our enemies. Psalm 61 through 12. And looking at this, this is talking about the time when David was king and they were fighting many wars. And David was crying out to the Lord of hosts because he knew when the Lord of hosts was with him that they would win. But when he wasn't, they didn't they didn't win. So this is kind of took me back to the second Samuel in verse 8.
Okay.
And after this, it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Mighanah out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab and measured them with a line, casting them down to the ground, even with 2 lines measured he put to death, and with all full line to keep alive. And so the Moabites became David's servant and brought gifts. When Lord of Hosts was with David, whenever he was fighting, he would win, and it was nothing that he couldn't do. But then when the Lord of Hosts allowed David to fight on his own, and things didn't go so well, um, it appears David here in 60, as a king, wrote that pretty much, when the Lord of Hosts is with you, then you win. But when the Lord of Hosts is not with you, then you'll go through what you go through. Thank you.
Exactly. Okay. Anybody else have any comments on that?
Shalom. I want to know about verse where it says banner. What does that banner mean? So I looked it up and
Where it said,
well,
what verse is it?
oh, the verse is
Verse
sorry,
4.
verse 4.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And so it took me to Numbers chapter 2 and 2, and it says,
Okay.
every man of the children of Israel shall pitch by his own standards with the ensign of their father's house, far off about the tabernacle of the congregation shall they pitch. And is that talking about the banner and the what that banner means?
But yeah, it's just a representation of a particular people. Like in the army, you got a different units, and they have a standard bearer or man that totes that banner that's on. It's like a flag, and it tells you who they are.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So they were fighting against the Ammonites.
Well, that's one of the people they're fighting against.
Okay, so each one of them had a different banner to bring to the war.
Right. Yeah. To identify themselves.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank
Mhm. Anybody else? Okay. We got our women's health moment.
Yes, shalom, everyone. Please know that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on 3D bioprinting meat. And I would just like to first, before I start reading that, is to just give everybody a video to look at and just pull up to get a vision of what I'm going to be talking about. Because at the end of the video, we're going to have a more understanding that, these people are saying that even though this meat is fake, it is healthier and greener, for us. So the name of the video is 3D printed fake meat, the healthier, greener future of food. That is the name of the video. So if you get a chance, just watch that video and you'll get a better understanding of what I'm going to be talking about. So, what is 3D printed meat? It is made out of lab grown stem cells. 3D printed meat is an edible rendering of a meat like product created from an additive manufacturing process. Layer by layer, 3D printed meat is constructed from a bio ink that extrudes out of a 3D printer nozzle. Three-dimensional printed meat is a programmable meat replica made from the additive processes of 3D printing that replicates its conventional formed counterpart at the cell level. So they're trying to say that this meat is better than the old original meat that comes from the cow. Okay.
Okay.
How is 3D printed meat made? To begin the 3D printed meat process, scientists biopsy a batch sample of animal stem cells depending on the desired type of meat. It can be beef, pork, poultry, or even fish. These cells then undergo an vitro proliferation process, bathing in a nourishing, nutrient dense serum within a climate controlled bioreactor. So it's already unhealthy right there.
Right.
Over the course of several weeks, these cells multiply, interact, and change into the fat and muscle cells that make up bioink. Then a robotic arm uses a nozzle to dispense this paste-like culture meat filament in fine layers atop one another. The arm follows the instructions of an uploaded digital file using computer aided design software in order to replicate the correct shape and structure of the intended meat. 3D printed meat material must be viscous yet firm enough to reproduce a structural model complete with accurate tissues, right? Depending on the type and cut of meat. It's gross when you see the video. The printed
Okay.
product returns to a second incubation phase, which allows stem cells to change and mature as they would inside of an animal. This is where the muscle fibers fully form with the right density, thickness, and length. Now that it has taken shape after a few more weeks, the lab to table meat is ready to be cooked and served. Did you know that the world's first 3D bioprinted and cultivated ribeye steak was made without genetic engineering created by Olive Farms and the Faculty of Biomedical Engineering at the Technon Israel Institute of Technology?
Mm.
Companies across the world are racing to produce cell cultured meat, saying that creating meat without raising and slaughtering livestock is better for the environment, animal welfare, and potentially health. The FDA and USDA jointly approved 3D printed meat in August 2023. Here are a list of the companies that are the leading players in the 3D meat revolution. It is Olive Farms in Israel, which was established in 2017. Upside Foods, a California-based lab-grown meat company. Redefined Meats in Israel. Shai Awaki in Singapore. Blue Nowly in California. Cell X in Shanghai. Good Meats, which does chicken only, and Eat Just, which is out of California. Fork and Good out of New Jersey, and Meat Tech, which is now Stakeholder Foods, which is in Israel and Belgium. They have also opened up operations in California. So, how do you like your beef? Old style cow or 3D printed? I'm going to read Isaiah chapter 5, verses 20 through 24. Woe to those that call evil good. Verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine and men of strength to mingle strong drink. Verse 23, which justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Shalom. So, Brother Leonard, I just wanted to cover this a little bit because when you do a little more research on this bio meat looks just like real meat.
Okay.
So now you're going in the stores and you have this 3D bio printed meat against the old style cow, as they say, you won't even be able to tell the difference.
Okay.
And China is really producing wagyu meat,
Right.
um, and fish.
Right.
That is what China is really big on. So I'm saying, ladies, as we're out there shopping, we got to really be mindful of that because this 3D printing is taking over.
Right. So when you say that, first said the 3D printing, if I recall, I remember maybe around 2010, somewhere up in there, they was printing out weapons like that. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
They was
sir.
printing out
Yep.
weapons. They was printing it, yeah, off the computer. So the
Right.
thing was frightening. What's frightening with that is they got AI now.
Yes,
They was
sir.
doing that with digital printing. What do you think they're gonna do with AI? Like that soon?
Yes.
Shalom, yes, sir.
Okay.
Far as people too, I know back when they did they was trying to um, would clone, it was cloning sheep and the animals, and with um, with AI now they're trying to clone people. So now they're doing with it's like cloning the meat because that's what they're doing, making meat look like meat, but it's not.
Right. Exactly. Like that soon?
Yes, sir. And they also now have, you guys going to be surprised, are medications that they're getting out is 3D printed.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Right. And it don't have no substance. Just
Right.
like that meat. Your body ain't getting nothing out of it. It's just
Mm,
it actually is a fake fulfillment.
right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And again, it just looks so gross when you're watching the machine, make this meat and then it puts some fat in there, a little white in there to make it look. I mean, it just looks gross because it's looking like a knitting machine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just going
Exactly.
back and forth. Right.
Right. So that's gonna like what people don't understand about DNA and the way that the Creator made the human body. That DNA and those cells and all that is within the human body gonna attach itself to that. You're gonna get something else. It's just like when they splice they splicing trees. Like they get a apple tree and an orange tree, splice it, and then you get a half looking apple, a half looking orange. You know, So it's the same thing with that. You start eating that stuff. It's just like with the animals, the chickens, when they speed up those chicken process, so then with those they inject them with those chemicals. Well, when you eat that animal, then your body absorb everything that he was that they was giving him. He was it's absorbed. Your body absorbing it. It's getting it within your molecular makeup. Same with that stuff. Whatever the body take in, it's gonna start gelling with it. Okay.
Right. And the biggest excuse that they, reading a lot of the articles, they were saying that it was a shortage on beef, on
Right.
cattle. There's a shortage. So it's like they always want to put it out there before they actually start shutting down a lot of things.
Right.
So if there's such a shortage, right, and they're saying there's a lot of food that's being wasted, that's going to save money.
Right.
It's going to save the environment to them, and this is supposed to be healthier. But I don't know if you guys caught that when I was reading that. It's talking about bio ink.
Exactly. Right. Right. And like I said, if it's making that meat in a way that it's doing, so it's got a molecular makeup just like we got it. So when you come in contact with with humans, it's going to start merging together. And who knows what that's going to do?
Shalom. That's
Shalom.
right to the unborn children when they come into the world by this 3D ink, meat, and milk and everything else they make 3D.
Yeah, you're right.
With the
Exactly
3D
right.
medicine, yes, and with the 3D medicine, that's gonna combine with the 3D meat or all the 3D printing of any food that's
Hmm.
gonna
Right.
accommodate to work with that. And then who knows if they when they tried to do the pig heart or the pig something on the pig to transfer into a human, I think it was the heart. I'm not sure. Um, when they did a transplant of one of the organs from a pig into a person, the person's I don't think he lived long, but he did have. They're trying to perfect that of transferring the organs of animals into people. So it's just so much that's going on.
Right. So much wickedness in the world. And I always said when they're in the lab, it's believe me, they're not doing anything good. And I thought about that too, like with the 3D medicine, they're saying to make it easier to swallow. I think that's what it said.
Right.
But I thought about that, like that has to be some kind of connection between the 3D meat and this 3D medicine.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right. And like I said, when they get into the body, our bodies inject all kind of chemicals to whatever that you can swallow to break it down, and then to get whatever it needs out of it. If it's anything that you ate that's have any kind of protein or whatever that the body gonna need, it's gonna break it down and try to get it. So, like I said, you introducing the body to something that has nothing to do with it. But it's gonna take it and do something with it. And like I said, you don't know what it's gonna do, what kind of effect it's gonna have on the people that's consuming it.
Yes, sir. And
Right,
also, I thought about it just a moment ago. Where are they going to put this? How are they going to sell it? Where they're selling this 3 meat, this 3D meat? Are they going to be selling it in the low income housing areas, or where? I mean, where are they going to start it out to test it on the low income, homes of people who saying that, well, let's see if how it does to them before we actually get it out there for everybody else to eat. It's,
Oh yeah,
you
right,
don't know
right,
what you're going to buy. I mean, you go in the
right,
store, you're thinking you're getting the meat, but you may be getting it, you know, and they'll put a sale on it to see just how many people would it affect or won't affect.
right. Yeah, it ain't. They just now circulating that information to us, but believe me, they've been doing this because I remember when I heard it, it didn't make any sense to say that KFC, all the chicken places, especially KFC, Popeyes, and churches they had a shortage of wings, chicken wings. So so how can you have a shortage of chicken wings and don't have a shortage of the drumsticks and the thighs unless you're doing this?
I
Because
remember
Right.
that.
that's crazy. So, yeah, yeah. So you short of wing, that means you should be short of everything else that's on the chicken, unless you're making them individual, printing them out like this. That's crazy.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is so true. And you think about it, if you go to Popeyes or KFC, their chicken is regular size, but you go to churches, their
Oh
chicken
yeah.
is huge.
Right. Exactly. It's back to that injections and those hormones and all that they do with their chicken. And as soon as you eat it, then it's gonna get in you. It's gonna have an effect on you because your body gonna absorb it, take it in. Yeah. Is that something?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna go to our current event.
Washington is now stronger than ever, and as we witness college campuses throughout the U.S. erupt in protests against the war in Gaza, one thing is clear. We are reaching a breaking point, and something major is about to happen. These protests, which started at Columbia University in New York, have now inspired students around the globe. Solidarity encampments have sprung up at over 40 colleges in the United States, and as far abroad as universities in Cairo, Paris, and Sydney. As each day passes, it's becoming abundantly clear that if the U.S. continues to support the brutality in Gaza by sending money and weapons to Israel, this could be the X factor that eventually leads to the removal of Joe Biden from the White House. Just listen to this amazing video from Mehdi Hassan, by far one of the most accurate and truthful voices speaking out on the Palestinian conflict.
You know, we see this stuff, we see all these, he doesn't like Netanyahu, he's very upset behind the scenes, a lot of leaks to Barak Ravine and other reporters. Great, come out and say it in public. Come out and say it in public and come out and do something about it. Yeah, also, politically, who in this country likes Benjamin Netanyahu? Why are you going to bat for Benjamin Netanyahu? Why are you risking American democracy for Benjamin Netanyahu? Why are you risking your re-election for Benjamin Netanyahu? Why?
How can anyone argue with these comments? Why are we risking the future of the United States to please one man? The evidence is abundantly clear that American voters are increasingly opposed to Israel's brutal onslaught into Gaza and in favor of an immediate ceasefire. But what makes things even worse for Biden is that the most important segment of the U.S. population, voters between the ages of 18 to 35, have turned against him and the U.S. government because of social media apps like TikTok. Oh wait, maybe that's why they want to ban it. The truth can no longer be hidden, and for the first time in history, carnage, destruction, and genocide are only a few clicks away on your phone. Of course, the White House, congressional Republicans, and talking heads from cable networks want you to believe these student protesters are engaging in anti-Semitic activities and targeting Jewish students, but the reality is completely different. You see, this is where you have to do some digging and research on what's actually happening on the ground in these protests, because you can't just rely on social media to stay informed. Manipulative algorithms are often designed to track our behaviors and feed us information that reinforces our own biases, further polarizing our already divided world. Which is why I partnered with Ground News to make today's video. I use their app and website every day in my work to analyze the latest geopolitical trends. You can check them out at ground.news/Cyrus or scan the QR code on screen. Let me show you how it works. Take, for example, the Columbia University pro-Palestinian protests. I can instantly access nearly 270 articles reporting on this from across the political spectrum. With Ground News, I can instantly compare how the media is covering the story in one place without having to check multiple publications. For example, I can see how New York Magazine is pushing the story And compare that to how Israeli media, like Haaretz, are framing the story. Look at these two examples. What New York officials are saying about the Columbia University protests by city and state New York, compared to this headline from the National Desk, which reads, NYPD chief rips AOC over Columbia Unity protest response. Pure hatred. Two completely different tones for the same story. Depending on which one you read, you can have a very different understanding of what's actually going on. Everyone, as a content creator, you know I only endorse products I've personally used, and I 100% believe that ground news is an essential tool you need to understand this complex world we live in. Go to ground.news/Cyrus to stay informed of what's happening in Israel, Palestine, and around the world. Subscribe through my link for 40% off unlimited access, or try it for less than $1 this month. So what's the real story unfolding here with Columbia University students? It's actually quite simple. They want the university to stop aiding Israel's genocide. This was clearly demonstrated when 76.5% of Columbia's students voted this week for the university's $13.6 billion endowment to divest from Israel. Another 65% of students voted to end Columbia's dual degree program with Tel Aviv University in Israel. These protests have nothing to do with supporting Hamas or being against Jewish people. Instead, it has everything to do with supporting the innocent lives in Palestine. Have these Columbia students been violent? Well, here is the direct quote from NYPD Chief of Patrol John Chell. The students that were arrested were peaceful, offered no resistance whatsoever, and were saying what they wanted to say in a peaceful manner. In reality, the protesters at Columbia University have three simple demands. Number one, the university's endowment divest from all companies and organizations that do business with Israel or are profiting from the war. Number two, the university publishes a list of all of its investments. Number three, the school grants amnesty for the student protesters who have been suspended in earlier crackdowns on Gaza-related protests. These demands are not extravagant, nor are they unreasonable. Because of social media, today's youth is much more connected to the world around them, and the atrocities unfolding in Gaza have become too much for most Americans to now support. But
Okay.
Jeff Bezos loves this. As a matter of fact,
Any comments so far? Okay.
what people want and what the U.S. government wants is two separate things. The U.S. government is supposed to be a government that represents the people, but President Biden has proven the exact opposite, as he believes supporting Israel and its war is undoubtedly the correct, righteous path for America. But take a look at this shocking new data. Recent polling by YouGov shows that over 50% of Americans aged 18 to 29 believe Israel is committing a genocide against the Palestinian people. And just about 40% believe Israel is an apartheid state. Israel has utterly alienated younger Americans, and once again, this is why we are seeing American universities at the center of the youth outrage against this war. However, it's not just young Americans. Take a look at how American voters are disapproving President Biden's handling of the Israel-Palestinian conflict. In mid-November, when a temporary ceasefire began, Americans were essentially split down the middle in their support of Israel. But fast forward a few months, and the blue line of support has never been farther away from the red line of disapproval. What this graph is simply telling us is that the vast majority of all Americans, regardless of age, have turned against Israel's breathtaking brutality in Gaza. And let's be honest, they are doing so for good reason, as Netanyahu's cabinet is filled with far-right religious extremists who believe that Israel's brutality in Gaza is fulfilling God's command. Think I'm exaggerating? According to the book of Joshua in the Hebrew Bible, God promised the land to the Jewish people and instructed them to destroy other nations living in the promised land. This text is used by extreme nationalists in Israel today, including the Israeli government, as well as many of the 700,000 or so Israeli settlers living in the occupied Palestinian lands in violation of international law. Netanyahu is pursuing the religious ideology of the 7th century BC and the 21st century today. Netanyahu and his government is the most extreme, far-right, and religiously conservative in the nation's history, and most certainly of any democracy in the world. The simple truth is that the vast majority of Americans are not in line with Israel's religious zealots at the highest levels of its government. They simply don't accept the biblical idea that Israel should kill or expel the people of Palestine from their own land. In a 2020 Pew survey, only 32% of American Jews believe that God gave the land that is now Israel to the Jewish people. What's more, 63% believed in the feasibility of peace between Israel and Palestine through the two-state solution. Most notably, there's long been a significant and continuously growing group of not-in-our-name Jews in the U.S., but also across the world. This group of Jewish people are openly against Israel's brutal invasion and occupation, against Netanyahu and his extremist government, and are publicly calling for an immediate ceasefire. Even then.
Okay. Anybody have any comments on that? Heard anything about that? The protesters?
I've heard about some of the protesting, and like we mentioned before, some of the protesting are not all students that comes on the campus to protest. And
Okay.
by now they're with the college students in the protesting. But, I think about 2 months ago, it was the Muslims were protesting down in New York and claiming, making statements that they will not vote for President Biden again if he doesn't stop supporting Israel.
Right.
So they are not. They calmed down on that news about the Muslims, and they're denouncing President Biden as being the next president for the coming year. And now they're with the protesting with them.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Got some pertaining to our national debt.
The national debt in the United States is steadily increasing year after year, finally reaching historic levels. The situation is concerning, to say the least, with a fast-paced growth at a rate of staggering $1 trillion accruing to the national debt every 100 days. The recent total in January of this year was a record-breaking $34 trillion. We're almost at $35 trillion. And maybe by the time you're watching this video, yes, we'll be at 35, maybe 36 trillion. In previous years, there was a general sense of complacency regarding the national debt. Not anymore. It's true that the United States has held debt since its inception, but it's no longer feasible to bury our heads in the sand over this unsustainable trajectory. Many economists warn that this mounting debt could throttle down important social programs, raise the probability of financial crises. What's going on with this immense amount of debt? How did we get here? So on today's show, we're going to talk about some of the main factors brewing right now behind the scenes. This massive amount of looming debt proves a serious lack of financial responsibility within the U.S. government, including skyrocketing spending habits that will have serious lasting effects for the American people for decades to come. This number, let me repeat it for you, 34 trillion. It encompasses decades worth of debt for the country. This includes war, programs like food stamps, education, funding national parks. And outside of that, one of the main factors that has contributed to this massive amount of debt, and especially the rate at which it has grown, is its pandemic-related spending. Gobs of money were thrown at the problem, from vaccine development, how'd that work out for us, by the way, to grants and subsidies, getting these biopharmaceutical companies totally off the hook, economic impact payments, funding for healthcare, and so on. You can see how this easily and quickly can add it up for the American people. Another issue that has amassed tons of debt in recent years is immigration support. That's right, the U.S. government is spending taxpayer money on housing, food, transportation for illegal immigrants. They enter the country illegally, just as we've seen. They come to New York City and they're given free flights. Where do you want to travel in the United States? Sure, American taxpayers will foot the bill. Want to go to Chicago? Want to go to Seattle? We'll pay for it. Imagine if you just showed up in New York City and said, I'm a family of 5. I'd like to travel to Chicago. Can I book a flight? No, sorry, you're American. You'll have to pay for your flight. So if you haven't seen my video on what's going on with illegal immigration in this country, you've got to watch that video next, where we'll have some more context on it. We'll link it for you right here. We'll have a little card that'll pop up. Watch that video. And of course, we can't forget the billions of dollars we have gone to fund the war in Ukraine. While sending aid to foreign countries isn't anything new for the United States, the amount sent to Ukraine far exceeds any other recipient. The Biden administration and the U.S. Congress have allocated another $60 billion for fighting the conflict in Ukraine. It was unbelievable over the past weekend to watch the U.S. House of Representatives waving Ukrainian flags on the floor of Congress. It's jaw-dropping. This is the United States. Your border is wide open.
People are sleeping in tent cities across the United States, and we're sending $60 billion to Ukraine and then waving Ukrainian flags on the floor of Congress? What world do I live in? All of that being said, the US government is on track to spend more on interest payments in the next 10 years than it's expected to spend on national defense. And we spend a lot on national defense, almost $1 trillion a year. That goes to show you how out of whack these national debt numbers are. We're just on the interest payments alone on the debt is now more than we spend on Social Security, is more than we spend on our US military. What are the implications of this debt load? Well, the amount of debt is just a ticking time bomb. It threatens any remaining security and resiliency of the US economy. It gives the country less flexibility to respond to unexpected problems. It removes all safety nets. It slows economic growth. And it places the burden on our future generations. And I look at my 7-year-old daughter and I think, you don't know what's in store for you right now. The amount of debt you will have in the United States when you're my age. The attitude that the United States of America is too big to fail could be our biggest downfall. And it seems obvious that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. 3 out of 4 voters agree that the national debt should be at the forefront of policymaking. There are 2 main options that could make an impact. Reduce spending or increase revenue, right? Bring in more money and maybe even reduce spending simultaneously. The best way for the US government to increase the revenue is to charge Americans more in taxes. What do you think that our lawmakers will choose? Spend less or tax you more? I definitely think that they're not going to take any pay cuts anytime soon. Heck, we just funded a brand new FBI building. And we're hiring more IRS agents. This is the American priority right now. Politics.
Okay, any comments on that? Okay, like you said, they're more concerned about other countries than what's happening right here in their own country, which is a recipe for disaster. Okay, there's some need to know information right here. Then we'll
bank failures around the United
open it up for
States
some
are
Q&A.
starting to increase once again. People are concerned about their money. Now, today we did see a new report that now there are hundreds of banks that are at risk of failure. We're going to address why this is and what experts believe moving forward. So I want to explain what's going on, how you can protect your money, and what every one of us should do just to be safe. So I'll address that in just a moment. And now let's begin. So why is there a new discussion about bank failures? What is going on? Well, it's because of a recent failure just last week, where most people had no clue that the bank was failing. And then all of a sudden, FDIC, the Treasury swoop in and they make another bank buy the assets of the failed bank. Now, doesn't matter what the banks are, but just understand that this is going to be the new normal. Banks are struggling. I want to show you why. It says why hundreds of U.S. banks may be at risk of failure. This is an article that we're going to read from CNBC. There's a couple other ones from Fox News that I want to show you as well. But the big thing here is what is going on with the Federal Reserve. Just the other day, the Federal Reserve decided they're going to pause interest rate hikes. They're not going to raise rates. They will not cut rates. Well, today the market was very excited about that because they were expecting that there was a possibility the Fed was actually going to increase their federal funds rate. By increasing the rate, the rate of banks failing would actually increase. So the Federal Reserve decided to do banks a huge advantage. They actually did something for them. But I want to read you this article. There are some of it. Look at this. It says consulting firm Claros Group analyzed about 4,000 U.S. banks and found 282 banks face the dual threat of commercial real estate loans and potential losses tied to higher interest rates. Keep in mind, they analyzed 4,000 banks. We have more than 4,000 banks. And out of the 4,000, 282 were found to be at risk. Well, that's troubling. It says the majority of those banks are smaller lenders with less than 10 billion in assets. Okay? Now, I want to show you this. It says most of these banks aren't insolvent or even close to insolvent. They're just stressed. That's the biggest thing. And one of the things I want to bring up is the interest rates. Because what we've been hearing from the Federal Reserve for the past 6 months or longer is that they are going to cut rates in 2024. It's not a matter of if, it's when. When they cut rates in 2024. Well, fast forward to today, and now it's a matter of if. If the Federal Reserve decides to cut rates. Just to give you a quick heads up, I don't think they're going to cut rates. And here's my personal belief. How could the Federal Reserve cut rates when they are trying to bring inflation down to 2%? We can't do it. Okay, I want to show you this. It says what the Fed says is ahead for interest rates. It says in a statement on May 1st, the Federal Open Market Committee, this is the FOMC meeting that they just had, said inflation has eased over the past year, but remains elevated. In recent months, there has been a lack of further progress toward the committee's 2% inflation objective. The FOMC also noted that it does not expect it will be appropriate to lower the federal funds rate until it has gained greater confidence that inflation is moving to its 2% target.
So if you look at that, you can see that this is how everything started in 2008. Nobody paid no attention, and then when you start dealing with those banks, you're looking for some serious disaster to take place. And like I said before, it reminded me of how everything started in 2008. Nobody paid no attention. Then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. Okay. So with that being said, I was going to open it up for some questions and comments. Or anybody have anything they wanted to talk about, or something they came across they want to chop it up before we start reading out of Deuteronomy? Any question from last night?
Shalom, everyone. Yes, good class last night. Which I think it was a lot of information that we all can always go over again and again. It never gets old. And what you guys went over last night, you were really going in, and the brother seemed as though he was really wanting to get a great understanding. And there are a lot of people out there that are Yah only, because they don't see the Lord of hosts.
Okay.
And I think there's even a channel on YouTube that is called Yah Only. And they think that, yes, sir. You know that channel?
Right. If I'm not mistaken, that guy is, I don't know if it's the same channel, but what he was doing was going around dealing with all the people that's non-Messianic.
Right. Yes, sir. That's the guy. Yes.
Right.
That's him. I watch a lot of his videos, but a lot of people on there, they speak of Yah only. They think if you are worshiping the angels, that's still idol worshiping.
Right. And like I said,
they don't see the Lord of hosts.
Right. And then they think they're not understanding that that's where the concept of JC come from in the New Testament. Being the son and being the second power. Like I said, from before they got hold to our records, our forefathers already understood that. They understood it was two powers in heaven. Okay, we already know the Creator, he can't deal with humans. I don't care if you're righteous or unrighteous or whatever, he can't deal with humans. He consume them. He's a consuming fire. So I was showing the brother last night. So that was the purpose of the 7 angels that he created. For those 7 angels to deal with mankind on his behalf.
Shalom. Yes, sir. Last night was really good. Can't wait for tomorrow. It just when you're trying to connect the dots, it has to be more than one. It just doesn't make any sense. And then you read about the angels and their assignment and what it is for them to do. It makes sense. So it'll be very interesting tomorrow night. Shalom.
Okay. Okay. Nobody else have anything?
Brother Leonard, excuse me, sir. I do. I just have two questions.
Okay.
Please, sir. In the book of wisdom, chapter 11,
Okay.
um, verse 24. For you love all things that are, and abhor none of the things which you made. For you never would have formed anything if you hated it. So can you explain that a little bit?
That's an, an Israelite person. I don't know who he is, who the author is in that book. That's the book of wisdom, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's speaking on behalf of uh, the Lord of Hosts and tying it to wisdom. And he's saying that when the Most High created everything, he didn't create nothing that was bad. If it was bad, if he had a problem with it, or he hated it, or abhorred it, he didn't create it. So if you anything you see on the planet, if you see it, then it was good when he made it. And we go back to the scriptures, and you see where it says that we know it's more than one being there because one of them is talking to the other one. Because he would say, "Make light." Then the other one, then whoever he's talking to made the light. He said, "Make this," and then he make it. Then he turn around and say, "Yeah, look at it and examine it and say it's good." So when you go back to what you just read, he said that when that in that doing that process, anything that you see on the earth, if you see it, it was good. Because he didn't make, like I said, he didn't make anything that he didn't like. If he had a problem with it, he didn't make it. Let me
Yes,
read
sir.
it. Let
Got
me
you.
read
So connecting with Genesis,
it. Say it
connecting
again.
with connecting with the book of Genesis, like you said in the beginning, and giving of food and all of that.
Right. Yeah. Let me read it.
Okay.
Let me read it a little bit. It says, "In the beginning, God created heavens and earth. The earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." Then, verse 3, God said, see that? So he ain't no madman. He talking to somebody. He says, God said, "Let there be light." Then there was light. So he's talking to the Lord of hosts. But we see these two beings one in verse 1, and the Spirit of God, the angel of God in verse 2. So we get to 3, God said. To who? To the Lord of hosts. Let there be light. He made the light. And then he looked at it, and God saw that the light, he examined it. He saw that the light was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Then he called it light day. So we see right here, it's more than one being that you be dealing with, verses. So then you get to verse 6. God said again, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters that were above the firmament, and it was so. And then God called that whatever, but you can see he's talking to somebody. And God said that the waters under heaven be gathered together. So whoever he's talking to is performing it. So, like I was saying before, or what so many people getting misled and tricked off is they tell you right there in John that In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and everything. It wasn't nothing made that wasn't made. And it went through the Word. All they did was remove the Lord of Hosts from the situation, put JC there. So when you come and get the truth, you thinking that it's something wrong because it's the same format in the New Testament with JC. It's the same format because what's it done in the New Testament was copied off of what was it going on in the Old Testament. They just removed our creator. Our God from us, our Elohim. They just removed him and put JC there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
One more, please, sir.
Okay.
Same book, Wisdom, chapter 12. And I'm going to start at verse 10. But judging them little by little, you gave them a chance to convert, not being ignorant that their nature by birth was evil, their wickedness inborn, and that their manner of thought would never be changed. For they were a cursed seed from the beginning. It was not through fear of any that you left them unpunished for their sins. For who will say, "What have you done?" Or who will withstand your judgment? So when it's saying in the beginning at verse 10 where I started, by judging them little by little, who is them?
Israel.
Is okay.
Nation of Israel.
Okay.
And then, like I was saying before, you can see the Hellenistic in there because he's saying convert.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that. You don't see that in the Old Testament. So he would send a prophet to tell Israel to repent and turn back to where they was going. You don't say convert. So like I said, when you understand that, that's what they did. When they came when the Greeks came with Alexander from Greece and started conquering the world, they started picking up all these different religions, and then they would convert people to the religions that they created.
Okay.
It's two different things when you say convert and repent.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else got anything? Okay. We're gonna go to Deuteronomy. Somebody want to read? We'll read a few chapters, and then we'll close out.
Yes, sir. Which book? Which chapter?
Deuteronomy. We starting at verse 1, chapter 1.
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy chapter 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel in this side Jordan in the wilderness in the plain over against the Red Sea between Paran and Tophel and Laban and Haras. I'm butchering names here. And
Hazarah.
Daz, Dazarah. There are 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir unto Kadesh Barney, and it came to pass, sir.
No, I said right.
And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, and the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel, according to all that the Lord had given him in commandment unto them. Verse 4. After he had slain Sihon the king of the Amorites, which dwelt in Heshbon, and Og the king of Bashan, which dwelt as Astroth in Edera, on this side Jordan in the land of Moab, began Moses to declare this law, saying, verse 6. The Lord our God spake unto us in the Horeb, saying, Ye have dwelt long enough in this mount. Turn you and take your journey, and go to the mount of the Amorites, and unto all the places nigh thereunto, in the plain, in the hills, and in the vale, and in the south, and by the seaside to the land of the Canaanites, and unto Lebanon, unto the great river, the river Euphrates. Behold, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give unto them and to their seed after them.
Okay, let me deal with these first 7 verses,
Yes,
8
sir.
verses. So if you look at verse 6, the Lord our God spake unto us in Horeb, saying, Ye have dwelt long enough in this mount. So do that ring a bell for anybody? That Horeb, do that mean anything to anybody?
Is this during the time of the 40 years?
Uh, yeah, well, it's right after that, I think, because they wandered for 40 years, then they crossed the Jordan and went into the land. So it's right after the 40 years.
Okay.
Right. So if we go to, I think it's Exodus. Yeah, Exodus. Go to Exodus. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Give me a minute. Yeah, on chapter 3 of Exodus. Let me know when you get it. Got chapter 3 of Exodus?
Got it. Yes, sir.
So verse 1. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led his flock to the backside of the desert, and he came to the mountain of God, Horeb. See that?
Yes, sir.
So this is where the Lord hosts. This is what I was trying to explain to last night. So we see right there, he came to the mountain of God, like the brother was explaining, kept on saying last night. God, they didn't discombobulated this word God and the understanding of it. So it says he came to the mountain of God, capital G, even unto Horeb. But then you go to verse 2, who on the mountain? And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him. See that?
Yes, sir.
There was an angel on the mountain that they said it's God. But anyway, so like I was saying before, when you understand who this angel is, so we see right here, Moses fled from Egypt, ended up in Midian, came to this mountain. This is where the God of Israel dwell at, right here, at Horeb. So they went from Horeb. He told Moses to go back to Egypt. He went with him. So we know it's his angel that went to Egypt and delivered the Israelites out of Egypt with the plagues. And so when we come back over here with what you just read in Deuteronomy, in verse 6, the Lord our God, that's his angel, spake unto us in Horeb. See that? Saying, ye have dwelt long enough in this mount. See that? So we see who it is. Like I said, whoever it is that over Israel inherited Israel. The Creator gave Israel to them. We see it right here. Somebody had a comment?
No, sir, I just was agreeing because in verse 8 he says, Behold, I have set the land before you. Go in
Right,
and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, sir.
right. So you can see the succession. Yahweh back at the Tower of Babel divided the earth up with these 70 angels and the Lord of hosts. That's who it is that's who on the mountain. Michael got that land, Canaan, Mount Horeb, and that whole region. So Moses come there after he fled Egypt, come to the mountain of God. which is his angel, angel of the Lord. And then he sends Moses back, and he go with Moses, and he goes and shut Israel down. Then they all come back to this mountain where we had right here in Deuteronomy chapter 1. Okay, so you can pick back up reading.
Yes, sir. Verse 9. And I spake unto you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear you myself alone. The Lord your God hath multiplied you, and behold, ye are this day as the stars of heaven for multitude. Verse 11. The Lord of God of your fathers make you 1,000 times so many more as ye are, and bless you as he hath promised you. How can I myself alone bear your comforts and your burden and your strife? Take you wise men and understanding and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. And ye answered me and said, the thing which thou hast spoken is good for us to do. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over fifties, and captains over tens, and officers among your tribes. Verse 16. And I charged your judges at the time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother and the stranger that is with him. Verse 17. Ye shall not respect persons in judgment, but ye shall hear the small as well as the great. Ye shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment of God's, and the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. And I commanded you at that time all the things which ye shall do.
Okay, so let's look at that. Let's
Yes,
look at
sir.
that. So it says, just like I was saying last night, you can see right here that uh, it says in verse 9, and I spake unto you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear you or myself alone, right? Okay. And then we go to verse 14. So I took the chief of the tribes of the men, of the wise men, and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, captains over hundreds, captains over 50, captains over tens, and officers among your tribes. Do that ring a bell for anybody? Verse 15. What were those 200 angels when they came down? What the book of Enoch say about them?
They were fallen angels.
Were they chief leaders?
Yes.
Yes.
Captains over 50, captains over thousands. They was chiefs among the angels. The 200 that came down. So, like I said before, as above, so below. So we see down in the land of Israel, same thing. Verse 15. So I took chief of the tribe, wise men, and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, captains over hundreds, captains over 50, same thing. And like I was like what was being discussed last night, you got angels with L on the end of their name, and you got Israelite men with L's on the end of their name. It's because of this. It's the same thing. It's an order. So let's look at it right quick before we keep reading. I'm gonna go to Enoch right quick. I'll tell you what the verse is, but let me find it right quick. So you go to Enoch, chapter 1, I think it is. You get it. Yeah. Yeah, it says in
Excuse me, sir. Is that first Enoch or second Enoch, sir?
First Enoch,
Thank you.
and it's verse 7 in my book says, these are the names of their leaders. See that? Then you start listening to names. I can't even begin to try to pronounce them. Then you get down to end of chapter verse 7, these are the names of the chiefs of tens. Same thing. We just read over there. These were the leaders that came down. Okay. So like I said, you had just like in the U.S. government or any government, you got secretary, you got a man that's or female or whatever that's over transportation, secretary of transportation, where he got a whole group of people under him that he's chief over them to maintain transportation. So when you go to up in heaven and that's dealing with the sun or dealing with the moon, it's a whole group of angels with an angel over them that's dealing with that, like with the clouds. And when the Lord of hosts says that he got treasures over snow, and he got treasures of ice, all that. So these ain't with snow. It's a whole set of angels that deal with that. There's an order, ranking order to that. So the chiefs of all these different places are the ones that came down and left their state. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So that's what you're looking at. So I was in Deuteronomy chapter. Yeah. So I just want to shine a light on that. And you can pick back up what you was reading.
Yes, sir. Verse 19. And when we departed from Horeb, we went through all that great and terrible wilderness which ye saw by the way of the mountain of the Amorites, as the Lord our God commanded us. And we came back to Kadesh Barnea. And I said unto you, Ye are come unto the mountains of the Amorites, which the Lord our God doeth give to us. Behold, the Lord thy God hath set the land before thee. Go up and possess it, as the Lord God of thy fathers have said unto thee. Fear not, neither be discouraged. Verse 22. And ye came near unto me, every one of you, and said, We will send men before us, and they shall search us out the land, and bring us word again by what way we must go up, and into the cities we shall come. And the saying pleased me well. And I took 12 men of you, one of a tribe. And they turned and went up into the mountains, and came unto the valley of Eshcol, and searched it out. Verse 25. And they took of the fruit of the land in their hands, and brought it down unto us, and brought us word again, and said, It is a good land which the Lord our God doeth give us. Notwithstanding, ye would not go up, but rebelled against the commandment of the Lord your God. 27. And ye murmured in your tents, and said, Because the Lord hated us, he hath brought us forth out of the land of Egypt, to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us. Whether shall we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our heart, saying, The people is greater and taller than we. Their cities are great and walled up to heaven. And moreover, we have seen the sons of the Anakims there. Then I said unto you, Dread not, neither be afraid of them. Verse 30. The Lord your God, which goeth before you, he shall fight for you according to all that he did for you in Egypt before your eyes. And in the wilderness, where thou hast seen how the Lord thy God bare thee, as a man doeth bear his son, in all the way that ye went until ye came into this place. Verse 32. Yet in this thing ye did not believe the Lord your God, who went in the way before you to search out a place to pitch your tents in fire by night, to show you by what way ye should go, and in a cloud by day.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So couple things I want to deal with. If you go to let me go back to chapter verse 9. It says, and I spake unto you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear you of myself alone as Moses. And the Lord your God have multiplied you, and behold, ye are this day as the stars of heaven. So that's a fulfillment of a prophecy, right? Didn't he promise Abraham? He told him to go out and look up at the stars. He gonna multiply his seed like the stars of heaven.
Yes, sir.
Right here, it's being fulfilled right here. 10. And the Lord our God hath multiplied you, and behold, ye are this day as the stars of heaven. So he completed that promise right here to Moses. To Abraham. And then the other one is verse 24. I don't know if anybody caught that, but and they turned and went up into the mountains and came into the valley of Escal and searched it out. Anybody know who that is or what that is? Escal?
No, sir.
No, sir.
That's a giant.
Giants.
That's a giant. No, we know how big it is, right?
Yes, sir.
So the valley where this giant Escal dwelled at. See that? So now let's go one more place to show you what I'm talking about. And like I said, people reading over this, but it's mandatory that you understand it. So I'm in Genesis 18, right? Genesis 18,
Yes, sir. Got it.
and give me a minute. 18. I'm gonna start reading at verse 1. And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre. See that? That's Escal's brother. Mamre dwells in these plains. See that? And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day, and he lifted up his eyes and saw. So Mamre there, to the oak of Mamre. And I don't know if you remember that verse where it was by the oak of Mamre. But this is an ant giant right here, and Axcal over here in Deuteronomy verse 24. They brothers. Anak is their daddy. When Moses sent the 12 spies out, he said they saw the sons of Anak. Then they listed them. Escal, Mamre is another one. Those are giants. But like I say, so many people reading over there, and all this stuff. When you read this and understand what you're reading, it solidified the book of Enoch. Okay, and then I had one more. 27, it says, and ye murmured. Check it out. It's crazy right here. And ye murmured, Israelites, and ye murmured in your tents and said, because the Lord he hath brought us, check it out, he hath brought us forth out of the land of Egypt to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites, to destroy us. So let's look at it. This is why he was knocking them off. Because let's look at it. I'm in back in Genesis chapter 15. Genesis 15. Look what the Lord promised. The same God that went to Egypt and destroyed Egypt. So I'm in Genesis chapter 15. This is Abraham talking to the Lord, right? And it says, verse 13, and he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. That's how we know this is Egypt, right? Well, I'm getting ready to show you. A stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. That's Egypt, not America. 14, and also that nation whom they shall serve, I will judge. He judges the Egyptians. And afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Now here we go. 15. And thou shalt, Abraham shall sleep with your fathers and go to your fathers in peace. And thou shalt be buried in a good old age. Now here you go, 16. But in the fourth generation, they shall come here again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet fulfilled. So he told Abraham right here, he gonna deal with the Amorites. Your descendants gonna go in the captivity, but when I bring them out, I'm gonna deal with the Amorites in the fourth generation, not go back. Where we was at in verse 27. So this crazy, and so this Israelites, Abraham's children, they forgot what he even told Abraham. So 27 says, "Ye murmured in your tents and said, because the Lord hated us, He have brought us out of the land of Egypt and delivered us into the land of the Amorites to destroy us." That ain't what He told Abraham. He just told Abraham, "You're gonna go to your father in a good old age and be delivered to your fathers, and then I'm gonna bring your children back here, and I'm gonna deal with the Amorites." See that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where you at? 34?
Yes,
Oh,
sir. Yes, sir.
okay.
And the Lord heard the voice of your words and was wroth and sware, saying, surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land which I swear to give unto your fathers, save Caleb the son of Jumphon. What what is this one?
Right.
Jehopham.
Right.
He shall see it, and to him will I give the land that he have trodden upon, and to his children, because he have wholly followed the Lord. Also the Lord was angry with me for your sakes, saying, thou also shalt not go in that thither. But Joshua the son of Nun, which standeth before thee, he shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither, and unto them will I give it, and shall pass, and shall possess it. But as for you, turn you and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Verse 41. Then ye answered and said unto me, we have sinned against the Lord. We will go up and fight according to all that the Lord our God commanded us. And when ye have girded on every man his weapon of war, ye were ready to go up into the hill. And the Lord said unto me, say unto them, go not up, neither fight, for I am not among you, lest ye be smitten before your enemies. Verse 43. So I spake unto you, and ye would not hear, but rebelled against the commandment of the Lord, and went presumptuously up into the hill. And the Amorites which dwelt in that mountain came against you and chased you as bees do, and destroyed you in Seir, even unto Horem. And ye returned and went before the Lord. But the Lord will not hearken to your voice, nor give ear unto you. Verse 46. So ye abode in Kadesh many days, according unto the days that ye abode there. That's
Okay.
Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1 through 46.
Okay. Yeah. So we see in verse 44, they're going to Amorites again. They didn't told the God that they ain't nothing they got to do. He not already promised Abraham that he going to deal with the Amorites. And they ended up, because of their rebelliousness, the Amorites ended up chasing them. Okay. All
Shalom,
right.
sir. Can I ask you a question here? So when the Lord of Hosts was telling Abraham as the generations unfold, so David was one of the ones who dealt with the Amorites a lot more than the rest of them.
Joshua.
Joshua, okay.
Right. Joshua was the one. It was Amorites. If you go back to the story, it was Amorites on both sides of the Jordan. So when Moses brought him to the Jordan, but he couldn't cross over to the land because of what had happened. So he couldn't go over. So he commissioned Joshua. Joshua went over, and Joshua the one destroyed the rest of the Amorites, the remnant of the Amorites. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, somebody gonna read chapter 2?
Yes, sir. I'll read chapter 2. Deuteronomy chapter 2, the wilderness years. Then we turned and took our journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as the Lord spake unto me, and we compassed Mount Seir many days. And the Lord spake unto me, saying, Ye have compassed this mountain long enough. Turn you northward, and command thou the people, saying, Ye are to pass through the coast of your brethren, the children of Esau, which dwell in Seir, and they shall be afraid of you. Take ye good heed unto yourselves, therefore. Meddle not with them, for I will not give you of their land, no, not so much as a breadth, because I have given Mount Seir unto Esau for a possession. Ye shall buy meat of them for money, that ye may eat, and ye shall also buy water of them for money, that ye may drink. Verse 7. For the Lord thy God hath blessed thee in all the works of thy hand. He knoweth thy walking through this great wilderness. These 40 years the Lord thy God hath been with thee. Thou hast lacked nothing. And when we passed by from our brethren, the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, through the way of the plain from Elath and from Ezion Geber, we turned and passed by the way of the wilderness of Moab. And the Lord said unto me, Distress not the Moabites, neither contend with them in battle, for I will not give thee of their land for a possession, because I have given Or unto the children of Lot for a possession. The Emans dwelt therein in the times past, a people great and many and tall as the Anakims, which also we accounted giants as the Anakims. But the Moabites called them Emans. The Horims also dwelt in Seir at that time, but the children of Esau succeeded them. When they had destroyed them from before them and dwelt in their stead, as Israel did unto the land of his possession, which the Lord gave unto them. Now rise up, said I, and get ye over the brook Zered. And we went over the brook 14. And the space in which we came from Kadesh Barnea until we were come over the brook Zered was 38 years, until all the generation of the men of war were wasted out from among the hosts, as the Lord sware unto them. For indeed the hand of the Lord was against them, and destroyed them from among the hosts until they were consumed. So it came to pass, when all the men of war were consumed and dead from among the people, that the Lord spake unto me, saying, Thou art to pass over through Or, the coast of Moab, this day. And when thou comest nigh over against the children of Ammon, distress them not, nor meddle with them. For I will not give thee of the land of the children of Ammon any possession, because I have given it unto the children of Lot for a possession. That also was accounted a land of giants. Giants dwelt therein in old time, and the Ammonites called them Zamzummim, Zamzummim, a people
Zanzuman.
great. Excuse
Mm-hmm.
me?
No, I say Zanzuman.
Okay, thank you. A people great and many and tall, and the Anakims, but the Lord destroyed them before them, and they succeeded them, and dwelt there and dwelt in their stead. Excuse me. And he did to the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, when he destroyed the Horims from before them, and they succeeded them and dwelt in their stead even unto this day. And the Avims, which dwelt in Hazarim, even unto Uzziah, the Caphtorims, which came forth out of Caphtor, destroyed them, and dwelt in their stead.
Okay, let me deal
24.
with this.
Raj.
Let me deal with this.
Okay.
Okay, so we was talking about the word Elohim, right?
Yes,
We
sir.
got we know that's plural because the I am. Just like we use S over here for plural, in the Israelites, the I am is plural. So you see it in verse 21, the word you just zezum. So that's a race of giants. It ain't just one, it's a race of them. That's why it got the I am on it. And then you see it in 23, the Avim, all them. So it's the same thing. It's basic English. So we see when you see Elohim, you can't change Elohim to God, the singular. It's more than one. And like I said, it's these seven holy angels. That's who the Elohim is. So I want to shine a light on something else. If somebody can find that verse, it's over in Numbers where Moses sent the 12 spies out. Somebody can find it. But anyway, I want to.
Is it Numbers chapter 13?
Let me see. 13. Okay, yeah, Moses sent the spies out. So let's look at it right quick. So it says uh, down in verse 22, 13:22. You got it?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
So it says, and they ascended. It's the 12 spies. They in the land of Canaan. And they ascended by the south, came unto Horeb, or Hebron, or where Ahim, here go the men I told you about, the giants. Ahim, Shimsha, Tima, children of Anak. Yeah. Then keep going. Where were built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt, and they came unto the brook of Escal. They go Escal, and they cut down from thence uh, the branches of grapes, and they boiled them between two upon the staff, and they brought up the pomegranates and the figs, and the place was called the brook of Escal, because the clusters of the grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence. So there's a giant right there. Then we see in verse 22, Anak. See the Anak? Anak. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Now go back over here where Michelle was reading it and look at let me get it. Verse 21. See that? And the people, a people great, many, and tall as the Anakim. See that? So that's Anak sons. That's why it's I am on the end of it. But that's his name, Anak. That's who the spies saw. Anak sons. That's why he said Anakim. And you see it again over here, right here in the same chapter at the beginning. You see verse 10. The even dwelt therein in times past, a people great and many and tall as the Anakim. So that's as Anak sons. Okay? See that? So yeah, I want to shine light on it. Where you was at?
Verse 24. I'm sorry. Verse 24. Rise ye up, take your journey, and pass over the river Arnon. Behold, I have given into thine hand Sihon the Amorite, king of Heshbon, and his land. Begin to possess it, and contend with him in battle. This day will I begin to put the dread of thee and the fear of thee upon the nations that are under the whole heaven. Who shall hear report of thee, and shall tremble and be anguished because of thee? And I sent messengers out of the wilderness of Kedemoth unto Sihon, king of Heshbon, with words of peace, saying, Let me pass through thy land. I will go along by the highway. I will neither turn unto the right hand nor to the left. Thou shalt sell me meat for money, that I may eat, and give me water for money, that I may drink. Only I will pass through on my feet. 29. As the children of Esau which dwelt in Seir, and the Moabites which dwelt in Or, did unto me, until I shall pass over Jordan into the land which the Lord our God giveth us. But Sihon king of Heshbon would not let us pass by him, for the Lord thy God hardened his spirit, and made his heart obstinate, that he might deliver him into thy hand, as appeareth this day. And the Lord said unto me, Behold, I begun to give Sihon and his land before thee. Begin to, sir?
I didn't say nothing.
Okay. Begin to possess, that thou mayest inherit his land. Then Sihon came out against us, he and all his people, to fight at Jahaz. And the Lord our God delivered him before us, and we smote him, as his son and all his people. 34. And we took all his cities at that time, and utterly destroyed the men and the women and the little ones of every city. We left none to remain. Only the cattle we took for a prey unto ourselves, and the spoil of the cities which we took. From Aurora, which is by the brink of the river of Arnon, and from the city that is by the river, even unto that. There was not one city too strong for us. The Lord our God delivered all unto us. Only unto the land of the children of Ammon thou camest not, nor unto any place of the river, Jabbok, nor unto the cities in the mountains, nor unto whatsoever the Lord our God forbade us.
Okay, yeah. So we see right here in in verse 34, and we took all the cities at that time and utterly destroyed men. So right here, this killed the story of JC coming to die for all men, and saying that all men came from Adam. These people ain't come from Adam. And how we know that? Because of, look what he had them doing. He commanded them. 34, and we took all the cities at that time, utterly destroyed the men, the women, and the little ones, and every city. We left none remain. So it don't add up to the New Testament. See that? Okay.
Yes, sir. That had
Anybody
to
else?
be a mess. That had to be just a bloody mess right there. Like,
Yeah.
yes. Mm.
So when the Israelites, Joshua and them came through there, and we see the devastation that they're doing, right? Do you think that he they buried all them people?
No, sir.
Well, how you think they got cleaned up? How you think the land got cleansed? You gonna call all the files. He got a whole system in place how to get rid of dead bodies. He got coons, possums, buzzards.
Right.
The animals came and
Oh,
ate them.
wow. Yeah.
Yes.
And so we see, like I was saying, there's nothing new under the sun. We see that in Ezra. He said, call the raven, call the buzzards, call the vultures, call all of them here to my sacrifice so they can clean it up. So we know we did the same thing right here. Dead bodies all over the place. Ain't that something?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Anybody got anything else before we go? We read 2 chapters out of Deuteronomy. And like I said, we'll stay there until we uh, read that whole chapter, that whole book. Okay.
Shalom. I want to bring something up. In chapter 2, we talk about the Mount Seir, which is the um that's where the giants entered in through, and then we have Mount Horeb for the Lord of Hosts. Is that the difference? The two mountains.
Mount Hermon is where they came in at.
Mount Hermon. Okay.
Yeah, Mount Hermon. Then Mount Seir and Mount Horeb is associated with the Lord of Hosts.
Now,
But
right.
it's seven mountains in that region. That's all the same region.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Anybody else got anything? Okay. She's gonna just shut it down right there. I'll see everybody tomorrow at 7 o'clock for our clubhouse. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Okay.
Shalom,